And then I actually had to fire him because I'm like, I can't handle your kind of crazy, man. I remember when I hit it, Ernie, and I'm saying, Ricci, looks good. And boink, boink goes in, and next thing I know, I'm up there, you know, dry humping this Nissan. Wait a second, did you say Rich Beem? I did. Give us 5 minutes.
Remember Nabisco Diner Shore, it was called?
Oh, yeah.
So we go up there we go up the course on the Tuesday, and all the players have been given a gift in their locker. And it was this latest, greatest alarm clock that you could press a button and record a message to wake up to. And Laura and I were sharing a room. So she had to go to the Pro-Am party that night, and while she's at the... And we had an early tea time the next morning, so I've set this thing, and I've pressed the button down, and I've just shouted as loud as I can, and saying, "Wake up, you fat fucker!" And I've left it. And so you've got the 2 double beds in this room, and she's set her phone or something like that. Well, this thing goes off, set this to come off 5 minutes earlier. And as it's come up, we're both just rolling around laughing. Like
Wake
6 o'clock in the...
Wake up, you fat fuck!
It was good. There's been loads of them with Laura. Oh my God, we've had some
There's got to be a
Oh,
billion of them.
she's such good value.
She's outstanding on Sky.
Does she go out for a drink? Does she go out for a drink with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm afraid to drink with her.
Oh,
Because I notice some weeks, don't you, your whole crew sort of get a house and you cook and eat in the house? And
We do. It's actually been a lot of fun when they come over for the majors, because the Sky rents us a house, and it makes it a lot easier getting, you know, to and from, as you guys know. But we'll get there, and invariably we'll go to the, you know, you go buy some food. You know, somebody cooks like every night and whatnot. But it always seems like we got to run back to the store for one extra, you know, bottle of wine or an extra round of a little bit of anything, you know. And it was pretty funny because we had Faldo at our house at
but that was interesting.
the U.S. Open, and he kind of kept looking at the wine bottles, you know, time after time. He goes, "You guys like to have fun?" I'm like, yes, that's what life is about.
We were in Japan one year, and Narita Airport, we were there on a Sunday night with Westwood and Clark, who, you know, they're not scared of sinking a few pints, let's put it that way. And we went to this bar called The Cage at Narita Airport, and Laura came on and she said, "Do you mind if I join you lads for a couple of drinks?" "Nah, no problem, Laura, come on." That was another time, I think. Anyway, she comes in. 9 pints she had. Said, "Right, lads, I've got to go now." "Right, cheers, Laura, all the best." I'm like, 9 pints, and off she goes straight out, no problem, like. Yeah,
I
legend.
still haven't been to her local yet. I've been wanting to the last couple of times, and I can't understand for the life of me why I didn't, other than the fact that I know I'd have to grab a taxi or an Uber back, because, you know, if you drive yourself there, you're not driving yourself home. But I have not been to, was Ottershaw?
Yeah,
Ottershaw?
she lives
Yeah.
there.
Ottershaw, yeah.
I want to see where her local is, because I drove through Ottershaw like 2 or 3 times, and all I could see was like this steakhouse. And I'm like going, that cannot be your local.
Who fights? You guys must have a scrap on weeks like this. Who fights for who gets the booth and who's got to be out there?
Oh, we don't fight. It's just we know that we're going to pitch Radar out there no matter what. I mean, Radar's going. But the first few years that we were here, Coulthard got that short straw because, you know, he was not quite in the leadership role yet, and there were times that it was just, as you guys know, it's just brutal. And he's out at Carnoustie, and it gets brutal. I mean, you think of Carnoustie as an angry place anyways, and then you throw the angriest Scotsman that's ever been around out there in it and give him a microphone. Oh, and he's trying to be sunshiny and talk, you know, like, "Oh, it's great," you know, and I'm kind of just laughing at him going, "No, it's not."
Well, I had the pleasure of working for him one year in one of my sabbaticals with Ernie, and that was an interesting 12 months, to say the least.
I can imagine. You know, he's so funny because it's like he wants to wake up in a good mood, but then he actually gets out of bed and goes and looks outside, and he just goes, "Great," you know. It doesn't take much for him to just kind of get off on that wrong foot, you know. It's pretty fun. But you talk about a guy that he works so hard every single time, and yet doesn't get in a third. I mean, not even a tenth of what he writes down. But, you know, he could find no joy in so many moments in life.
But one of the funniest moments of the last couple of years, Beamer, would have been Hilton Head, wouldn't it? Where I walked into a restaurant, me and Mabs, who was Fitz's trainer, and over in the corner is Beamer and Coltart. Come and join us, lads. Yeah, all right, mate. So we're going to sit down. Long story short, we have the meal, a couple of beers. I think it's probably a $250 meal, you know.
Yeah.
So I've gone, credit card roulette, lads. You know, see who pays for dinner, like. Coltart's the only one. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting involved in any of that shit. Beamers, I'll do it, Mabs, I'll do it, right. So we're getting the cards out. Are you sure you don't in Coltart? Oh, fuck it, go on then, I'll do it. Then go. Yeah. Waitress comes along, there you go, bang, Coltart. Really? He never, that's 2.5 years ago, and he's still not forgiven me.
And then fast forward to this year, he and I meet for the same dinner in the same place, we're having a nice little meal, and in walk these two guys from Ilkley Golf Club who I had met prior through Simon Hurd, and I told Coltart, you know, we're going out to dinner, and he goes, that little guy's not going to pay for anything. I'm like, just relax.
I'm going to buy dinner, like, just to wind Coltart up.
So anyway, so we joined these guys from Ilkley. We send them the tab, and then we videotape it and send it to Coltart, and he is just, as he said, he came up with this quote. He's spitting feathers, like spitting feathers. I'm like, what in the hell does that mean, dude? And I'm spitting feathers after watching that. I'm going, Jesus Christ. But I mean, we sent him the video of somebody else paying for our meal. And he's like, for fuck's sake, you can't catch a break, you know. He thinks you're the luckiest guy on the planet Earth. I can promise you that. God, it is so much fun winding him up.
It's a great crowd, though, isn't it? You've got there.
We got the greatest group of degenerates I could ever hope to work for. I mean,
Did you know, because we had Pete in half hour before you, actually, and Pete Cow.
Oh yeah.
And he was, it was just natural for him when he finished playing. He straight into coaching. Did you know you were going to do this, or when you stopped playing, or did?
Not really, but I've been told once or twice that, you know, there's somebody planted the seed, like, hey, you ought to think about commentary because, you know, you seem like you're natural, you're good at it. And so I think that some point in time when shit started going south, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to maybe start pursuing this a little bit. 2010, when I got injured and had surgery, that's when I kind of got a first taste of it at the PGA that year. I sat in this box about as big as that mat right there, and it was the first time they'd done 3D coverage. So I had to do 3D coverage with the guy Vince Cellini, who now does a lot of the Champions Tour stuff. And he and I had to wear these 3D goggles doing on holes, let's see, was it 12 and 17, and we did it for like 4 hours. And you take off these 3D goggles, and I felt like I'd been on mushrooms for like 12 days. I mean, I'm just like, everything is just moving around, and you're just kind of like, what in the hell have I gotten myself into? But I got a taste of it there, and it didn't frighten me too bad. And so I just thought, you know what, I'd kind of run with it. But I got lucky in 2015, actually end of 2014. I got a call from Jason Wesley from Skies, and because I'd met him earlier when I was playing on the European Tour. We crossed paths a few times, and I expressed, you know, interest at some point in time. And they had to do a full production over in the U.S., and they were going to start sending teams over there and whatnot. And he asked if I wanted a job with Sky. I said, hell yeah. And then it's just morphed into this team that's just hysterical. I mean, I can't imagine any other TV crew having as much fun as we do on a daily basis.
Well, and Rob Lee's hilarious. And
Rob is, I stayed with Rob the last couple of weeks in his flat in Shepperton, and it's just like, it is non-stop. I mean, and it's how it should be. Like, I mean, I can't imagine you get any of this in the U.S. Not a single thing, because we don't go out to dinner with our producers or our bosses at all.
Everybody goes their own way, basically.
Yeah, everybody kind of goes their own way. The TV crews over there, they spend some time together, you know, chit-chatting, and they'll go to dinners and whatnot, but it's a little more formal. Like, there's nothing formal about going to a place and watching Radar eat wings. I mean, that's just like, I mean, you're just hoping it doesn't catch a finger in the middle of all of that, right? With a little extra sauce on it. I mean, there's nothing formal about watching Radar eat. So we tend to go to less famous and expensive places.
What's that schedule like? Is it like a playing schedule? About 28
Yeah, I mean, I work 20. I think this is my 23rd week. of the year. So I mean, it's just like playing, except for the hotels are worse. There's no courtesy cars. The where we work is not the greatest. But listen, it's TV is it's a lot of fun if you don't take yourself too seriously doing it. Because listen, we're in the entertainment business, and sometimes we go off on these tangents, and we need to be drawn back in. But kind of like you guys. We're here to entertain the folks at home. This has nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with them. Also tell a story about what's going on the golf course, but also, let the folks at home know that, we played this game and we know that the suffering and the beating and all that, and you can't take it that seriously or you're just going to go mental. You're just going to lose the plot. And so you kind of have to laugh at yourself at some point in time. That's why it's so fun hanging out with you guys, because the stories you have, because you have to tell these stories, because if not, you'll go crazy.
Yeah. Well, golf's gone that way, Beeman, hasn't it? That's got, it's lost all the characters.
It's
and the
lost,
fun that we used to have.
The stories are
far
just,
too serious with no characters.
I mean, there's no more Stevie Duplantis anymore. I mean, that
God,
guy
that
was.
guy.
God bless his soul. I mean,
guy?
he was just. I mean, you talk about the ultimate, nightmare.
Caddied for you, didn't he?
He did. He caddied for me for about 8 months, and then I actually had to fire him because I'm like, I can't handle. You're kind of crazy, man.
Any truth in the rumour that he rocked up
Wrapped up in
with no clothes?
That was I know the story you're talking about. Yeah, he was actually on the LPGA tour, and he was with one of the players, but he might have been having relations with another player in that same group. And they go back, and he wakes up, and as usual, he goes out on the piss, on the lash, passes out, but wakes up and doesn't have a stitch of clothing, doesn't have his car, doesn't have anything. He's not even in a hotel. So he takes a towel and he wraps it on. He's running around, and he finally figures out a way to get to the golf course.
Just with a towel?
Just with a towel. And then he goes in, and I think he borrows his player's clothing, like a shirt or so, and I think he went and got some shorts out of the pro shop, but got his shirt, and it's just like saran wrap, and he's got all this, and he's just like going, what in the world are you doing, Stevie? And he was that way. I mean, like he was with Jim Furyk for what, 6 years, something like that. His nickname became Asbestos.
Yeah.
Couldn't be fired.
Well, I think it was with Furyk, or it might have been you, I can't remember, when he was getting paid to wear this hat, but he was getting paid by the minute.
It got paid, but it was
And
with
he
me.
was in front of that
It was.
camera.
I think it was. What was it? Was it? No, it wasn't Norelco. It might have been Norelco.
Yeah, I think it was Norelco.
It was Norelco, and
Yeah.
it was the first week they'd put it out there.
Yeah.
And they'd budgeted for like the entire year, like 30 grand, right? And it's every second that Norelco is in vision where you can actually read it, and they have somebody doing it. That would be.
What was it, like
$500 or something like that,
Yeah,
or
$500 a minute or a second, I
or
can't
whatever.
remember,
Yeah,
something crazy.
whatever. I think it was like $500 a second, and they figured, they'd get a few caddies wearing it and whatnot. Well, that was the first week. He put it on, and because of the minutes that they had, they paid him $50,000. He broke the bank, and then got an extra 20 grand. But I think one of the funniest stories I have about Stevie is we get done playing, we win the Kemper Open, and we stick around. We have laser surgery on our eyes, and then we depart ways. And we meet up again on Monday, I think, in Memphis. And I get out of the car, and he's, all right, pro, I'm ready to get back in this. Let's go do this, man. You're playing great. I mean, I had a great time. We're going to do this. I said, absolutely. And I already paid him. Wrote him the check, off he goes. He says, you know what? We did so good. I even bought myself a present knowing full well that you're going to win it again. I'm like, shit, that's great. He's got this gold presidential Rolex that's worth $25,000. I'm like, so if you pay taxes on the $45,000 I just gave you, that leaves you about $22,500 left. You just spent your check, basically. And I'm sitting here still wearing, a swatch or something like that. And he's got this gold Rolex, and I'm just kind of looking at him going, that's a little interesting, but that's the way he lived. He lived every single day for that day and nothing other.
And for all his craziness, and I mean, he was crazy as a box of frogs, but he was sought after as a caddy. He knew his job, didn't he? Good
He was,
caddy.
I mean, inside the ropes, it's almost just like once he got inside the ropes and was walking this way, he became like laser focused. And as soon as it went, it was like, as you guys say, away with the fairies.
Yeah,
It's one of the greatest terms of all time.
He was
away with the fairies.
scatterbrain. He was complete scatterbrain.
Yeah, he was ADD, ADHD. I mean, he was everything. I mean, he was everything on every spectrum you can imagine. But you know, at the end of the day, though, he still had a great heart about him. You know, he truly did. I mean, he would do so many things for you, but he was just Stevie, man. He was kind of off his rocker.
Sorely missed. Good
yeah,
character.
he was
Good
I mean,
character.
the stories about him were. I mean,
we could sit here for a couple of hours, couldn't we? Everyone's got one about Stevie to
So,
play.
so tell me a little bit about that PGA.
oh, which part about it?
Well,
Taking down the chosen one, obviously.
Yeah, but I
Wow.
remember I rocked up at the course with Ernie. I saw you getting out. You pulled in your parking spot.
Yeah, and we
you
had a.
this huge bottle of Jack Daniels. And he was sort of giving it this jig on the way to the locker room.
This is when? The week after, or?
No,
No, it was a week. This is a Sunday up. So my caddy, Billy, he actually was staying with his sister out in St. Paul, and so he drove to the liquor store, knowing full well we're going to take a private plane from there over to Seattle Sunday night. And we didn't know, you know, we were going to get there, but so he stopped off this liquor store and bought a bottle of vodka and a bottle of single barrel Jack Daniels. And the guy at the cash register goes, "I know you." Billy goes, "I've never been in here in my life." He goes, No, I know you from somewhere." He goes, "You caddy for Rich Beem?" He goes, "That I do." "Does he like to drink Jack Daniels?" He goes, "Yeah, he does. This is for him." He goes, "Oh my God." So he goes over and he's got this styrofoam statue of Jack Daniels about like this. "Take it to him, tell him someone's for me." I'm like, it's like, okay. So I have this styrofoam thing of Jack Daniels, and CBS comes up with it in their, you know, like they do. I'm getting out of my car and I open up the back seat, and of course
There it is.
this thing starts falling out. I'm going like, yep, here we go. You know, like Jack Daniels, here we go.
and I'm sat in the car with Ernie watching this.
Oh, and it was just like, what
funny.
in the world? I mean, it's just like, they're just right there on you. And, I mean, even more so than they are, I mean, not nearly as much as they are now, I should say. But yeah, and then once we got done, I think the funniest story comes from actually the pilot that I had that was flying. An older guy, flew a bunch of Lear 35s out of El Paso. And he originally landed, he came up from El Paso, landed it, and parked the plane somewhere else. I don't know why he didn't park it immediately at Minneapolis, St. Paul, but parked it somewhere else. And then actually, because I pretty much probably didn't think I was going to win, so I could actually take the car to a different airport and fly out of there. But once we won, he moved the plane from there over to MSP to Signature Aviation.
Yeah, because Ernie's plane was parked next door, and I remember.
So he comes pulling in, and he's you know waiting, you know, Whiskey 5, November 35 Whiskey Romeo, waiting to pull in, and they're taking forever. And there's this big ass Challenger right in front of him, and he's sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And he says, after about 45 minutes, he goes, "Signature Aviation, when am I able to move in?" And he goes, "Who's your passenger?" He writes back, "Rich Beem." So, wait a second, did you say Rich Beem? "I did." Give us 5 minutes. A tug comes over, grabs that Challenger, and takes it
Shifts it.
150 yards that away. My guy pulls up front and center, and he says, "I'm just opening up the door, walking out, and out of the double doors walks Tiger Woods, and he has to get into a golf cart and walk clear, or has to be driven clear across the way to go get into his plane," or
So he
whatever it
kicked
was.
his ass twice in the same day.
That's exactly right. But you're talking about the time that we were leaving to Seattle. We were leaving out of Seattle the next week, and yes, I still had another bottle of Jack Daniels.
But he's giving it this jig.
Oh,
you know,
I'm giving
as
this
he-
jig. But then we go into Ernie's plane. I mean, I'm like in a Yugo compared to an Escalade. You know, it's like
That
this doesn't even.
G5.
Yeah, a G5, and I'm kind of going. Yeah, I'm in this like this little tiny plane that we're gonna have to stop twice for gas. You know, and you guys were heading back to London, and first thing you get on, here's Heineken. All right, don't really drink Heineken, but down a Heineken. And my wife was with me, and she would drink whatever Lazel gave her, thankfully. And I'm halfway done, and he hands me another one. So I slam this one, you know, throw the can away, open up this one, start drinking it. He hands me another one. I'm going, wait a second. I want to drink Jack Daniels, not this guy, not this swill. But I remember getting on that airplane, and it was because you guys were just getting ready to leave to come back to London after that. But yeah, that's when we ran. That's when I had that other bottle of it as well. Yeah, that was a fun trip home too. And I got home for like 3 weeks, and God, that was good times.
I don't know when it was. Something else sticks in my mind with you, Beamer, is when you got that hole-in-one and you won that car. I can got this vision in my mind of you laying across
I jumped up on top
and you run straight
and
over
hugged
to
it. Wait a second.
Can we play with you?
You were with us that day.
Yeah,
you were
because
with
I
her.
remember
Yeah,
you spread eagled over the
because there was
bonnet.
Furyk as well, and Ernie. Because I remember when I hit it, Ernie, and I'm saying, Ricci, looks good. And boink, boink goes in. And next thing I know, I'm up there, dry humping this Nissan. And, and people kept asking me, didn't you scratch it with your spikes? Well, soft spikes, but I had, black soles on them. So there was some black marks on there. But I said, it's my car, man. I can do whatever the hell I want with it. I won the damn thing.
Did you keep it?
Actually, what I did is I put 6 names into a hat. And at the time, my daughter was 18 months old. She walks over and said, draw a name out of the hat. Draws his name out. It was my caddy. So I gave him the car.
Good man.
Paid all the taxes on it, everything. Gave him the car. Absolutely. Yep. So and in fact, I was actually really glad that I gave it to him. What I didn't do though, I didn't force him to get a personalized license plate that said 7-iron, because that's what we hit. But it's all good. He picked a nice gray one, fully loaded. So, but Nissan was good to us. Yeah,
Brilliant.
Good fun.
Brilliant.
Beamer, thanks for coming in to see
Are
the
you
boys.
kidding me? This is I could sit here for days and listen to you guys.
Well, we need to bring you back. You can visit us again
Dude,
at some
anytime.
stage.
I am around anytime. Are you kidding me, boys? You guys are the best.
Respect.
I was
Thanks, man.
really looking forward to
Thanks,
seeing
Beamer.
you guys, but I'm so glad you guys came out with this podcast because, again, this is what I missed about playing on the PGA Tour. By the time I'd gotten out of there, it was turning into more of a business. Not that it wasn't before, but it was the money was starting to get real, and the caddies were, still see some guys hanging around in the parking lots on Monday looking for bags and whatnot, and players wouldn't have it. But now it's so different. It's just gone, and when every chance I get to sit down and listen to you guys, and I can't wait to just purge on all your podcasts, because it just shows the human side and what golf and caddying is and it was really like, and it's because it's, it still blows my mind that the Tilson twins, they've never driven a car.
No,
They've never. How in the world can you survive in this world without a car? And they've done it. They've done it for 35 years.
All over the world.
All over
Tokyo,
the world.
Seoul, and they just
I mean,
get there.
And just planes, trains, and automobiles, And back in the day when there's no cell phones, how in the hell did they do it?
Yeah, it
Well,
was
that's
hard
what
work.
we discussed that yesterday and on the previous series. I mean, half of these guys today don't even know they're born. I mean, life is so easy.
Private jets
compared
everywhere
to what
and-
we had to do.
I mean, now the guys are, at some of the PGA Tour, caddies are getting courtesy cars. What in the hell is that all about?
Yeah, the last 2 tournaments.
The last
The BMW Championship and the Tour Championship.
Well, we had Adam Mays on
and the
earlier.
Travellers. You get your own BMW X5.
We
It's
had
like-
Adam Mays on earlier, prior to you.
Yeah.
Well, if he carries on the way Rahm's playing, he'll be having his own private jet next.
Yeah, there's no,
That'd be
seriously.
the next one, wouldn't it?
That's what's been next. There'll be 5 caddies on a private jet. And,
There's no doubt.
we couldn't afford to get on an aeroplane, never mind turn left.
Yeah.
We had to be on trains for 2 days and sleeping in bushes and shit like that. But that's the way it was. And
Listen,
listen, I'm glad I did it because it gives you a great education. And
absolutely.
you appreciate things.
There's no better education than trying to traverse this world on a shoestring budget, and you're just trying to just get from point A to point B, man. It's the greatest.
Coming up on the 19th Uncut, watch celebrity guests take on the longest drive and nearest the pin challenge. Guests include Alan Lamb, Schalk Berger, Kevin Peterson, Piers Morgan, Dame Laura Davis, Sir Ian Botham.